My name is Cassy Summers. Welcome to the Curious Universe podcast. Welcome to the Curious Universe podcast. Today we are going to be exploring backdoors. Now, don't get perverted on me. I'm not talking about that back door. I'm talking about when you have a back door to something in your life. So it could be, great example, relationship. Have you ever started a relationship with someone, but you're already kind of calculating your way out of the relationship? Like, well, if this doesn't work out, then I can just, like, this is the reason. Or you're almost looking for the reason to leave the person before the relationship has ever even started. People do this in work and career. They can do this with business partners, friendships, and they're always kind of looking for a way out, looking for a way that they could just have a back door so they can exit quickly. That's what we're diving into today. So, back doors. A back door, essentially, I mean, just look at it energetically, right? So, you go to engage in something and you have to have a certain amount of energy, kind of keeping an out open. So, you're energetically holding the door open so that you can exit swiftly. But it also creates a lot of presumptions and expectations that you need this and that you eventually will leave. How much conclusion is in the process of having a back door open? Explore this for yourself. Look at those places where you have created back doors, and it doesn't necessarily have to be to specific things like people or things or places, but really the biggest limitation is when you have a back door to your life. It's essentially a back door to you because this is your life, right? So that could always be like, I mean, that could look like, well, I could always just end my life. I could always just quit. I could always just, it's like your plan B. Like if this doesn't work out, then I have a way out. Woo, that just brought up a lot of energy. So everything that brings up and lets down, will you destroy and create it? Please, right and wrong, good and bad, POC and POD, all 100 shorts, boys, poets, creations, spaces, and beyonds. If you're new to the show and you've never heard all those words that I just said, that is the Access Consciousness Clearing Statement. Please go to theclearingstatement.com if you want a full explanation of that. It is essentially a wonderful magical tool from Access Consciousness that we use here on the show. It just clears out energy. All right. So what's the alternative? So we can have all these back doors open, or you can commit to your life. Commit to your life, not necessarily committing to people or committing to jobs or committing to things. But you could commit to being with someone or commit to being at a job. Now, this difference is actually vital because a lot of people are more willing to commit to someone or something than they are to their lives. And then that can actually even create the resentment because everything you thought you were going to get out of this commitment doesn't show up. And then you're in total resentment. And now you don't want to commit to anything, right? Woo! Right, wrong, give out, talk about all 100 shorts, boys, poets, creations, spaces, beyonds. I did not realize this topic was going to have so much energy on it. But here we are, exploring. Have you ever committed to someone? Like maybe you in a relationship, you went all in and you committed to them. But when you commit to them, you often lose you. If you could, same thing, you commit to a job, commit to being a parent. Oh my gosh, it's like being a parent is like skydiving. It's like jumping out of the plane and then realizing like you can't just get back in that plane. You have to. You just have to glide down. That's the only way. Um, but we're still looking for that back door. Like, how many of you have a back door to being a parent? And that could show up like just like whoever else made the baby. It's like letting them, like leaning on them. They're the plan B. Well, if anything, they'll take the kid. They'll take care of them. That kind of stuff. See, these back doors are literally everywhere. And so when you close a back door and you commit to your life, utterly, truly your life, and then you commit to being. So from there, you commit to being with a partner, being in a job, being the parent, being the friend, whatever. So many magical things show up for you because when you fully commit to your life, then consciousness, the universe, and your life can commit to you. When you have all this energy that you're using to hold open back doors and to not fully commit to something, then you're essentially killing a huge amount of possibilities that will never show up for you. Everything that is times a godzillion, we just train and create it, please, right? Run, goodbye, pockbot, all 100 short space, poets, creation, spaces, and beyond. So when you're really willing to commit to your life, then you're willing to do, be, choose, create, lose, generate anything that's required for you to have a greater and greater life. And the cool thing is those willingness to do those things often are not what we think they're going to be. They're often not as intense or difficult or challenging as we would think, kind of like run the marathon or like I'm going to train super hard. I'll do whatever it takes. What's true is when you have a commitment to your life, everything is easier. So the willingness to do whatever it takes actually has a lot more ease and space to it than if you were only partially committed and more committed to your back door. I think you're starting to pick up what I'm putting down, but we're going to keep talking about this because this is such a, um, such a gift in anyone's life that's willing to look at this and really willing to step into that greater commitment to their life. Like you have one lifetime as you, like whoever you are. Now, I fully believe we have multiple lifetimes. You might not. Will you have another lifetime? Of course. Will it be different? Of course. But this is the one lifetime where you're this person, right? Like with you were born into this family, this is your like the country you were born in, the life experience you've had in this exact particular way. It's like this recipe that you can never recreate. And what do you want to do with that? You chose that life for a reason. You chose to create yourself. And what do you want to do with that? And if you look at that energy of what would you like to get out of this life, that's what you're committing to. You're committing to like the gift of your life. And from that, it is so much harder, one, for like you to get off track. And I don't mean like we all need to meander. We all need to, it's not a straight shot. Like there's so much beauty and like the meandering path and the exploration. But what I mean is when we jump off track and we're like headed down self-destruction mode, not realizing what even happened, what is even going on. When you have a commitment to your life and living, um, you're always, even when you're meandering, you're going forward into greater possibility. You're going forward into something more beautiful and more spectacular for you. So, um, wow. So what are you dynamically creating and holding a back door open to that if you didn't, would actualize the miraculous life and living that you truly desire. Everything that is times a Godzilla. We destroy and create it, please. Right, wrong, give up, bot, bot, all 100 short space pose, creation spaces beyond. Okay, a relationship is popping again. So I know some people that they're like have commitment issues, right? So they're like someone and they're like super having fun and exploring, but then they'll reach this point where suddenly it's like um it almost they've decided like they're going into a cage, right? Like this is a prison. They're losing their freedom. Um, all sorts of or like what if someone like what if there's someone greater? What if this isn't my person and I'll miss my person or like soulmate stuff, like whatever that is. Um, because for a lot of people, the sense of commitment is that they do notice there's the back door that's closing, but then it's like there's no way out. And okay, wow, cool. So everything that is, and everywhere you decided that commitment means there's no way out, will you destroy and create it, please? Right, wrong, good, bad, POC, but all 100 shorts, boys, poets, creation, species, and beyonds. We know that we have true choice. It's one thing that we are gifted here on this planet. This is a choice universe. Okay. But most of us feel like we don't actually have choice. And but we're the ones doing that to ourselves. So let's say it's a commitment to a relationship and now you've decided you're stuck there. Well, unless someone has a gun to your head, you're never stuck there, no matter what. Even if it's like it would be inconvenient to break up, or I would hurt their feelings, or all those things. Those are just decisions and conclusions that you put on yourself. So no one's actually jailing you but you. No one can actually jail you but you. Isn't that funny? So if you were truly committed to being with someone, okay, not commit to them, don't lose you. Don't commit to them because you could commit to them and that is not a commitment to your life because then who comes first? They come first, not your life, not your awareness, not your joy. It's like it's all about them. And I see this happen not only in relationship, I see this happen with families, committed to the family, committed to your kids, committed to, oh my God, your job comes first, all these things. So really look at that. The first thing you need to commit to is your life, your living. That is the number one thing. And if you had no backdoor to that, okay, that is the number one that you've committed to is your life and living. Do you perceive the potency and the power in that? And then from that space, now you're fully committed to your life and living. That means it is number one. It is your priority. And then you commit to being with someone. So this wonderful person comes along and you're like, you know what? I'm going to commit to being with this person. I'm going to go all in here and I'm going to be with them. Because you are fully committed to your life and living, if at some point this relationship stops matching the life and living, then trust me, there's going to be an easy exit forward rather than having that back door out. It's always a forward momentum when you're in the energy of committing to your life. And you're committing to being with them as long as that being with them matches the commitment to your life and living. Are you with me? Isn't this so much lighter and easier than actually thinking about committing to someone or something? Like, oh my God, a job, even my own beautiful business. I love my business so much. I commit to being with it as long as my business matches the living that I'm committed to completely committed to, then I will do whatever it takes for my business. But if it doesn't match that anymore and I can't change it and there's nothing forward, then I'm out. And I'm that is that willingness to lose anything for the commitment to your life. I'm willing to lose anyone or anything for the commitment to my life and living. And in my life and living, I include all of these beautiful things. I include money. I include happiness. I include joy of embodiment. I include my kids. I include, certain really special people to me. What if committing to your life was a lot easier and a lot more powerful and freeing than you've been led to believe? For me, committing to my life has a space of total freedom that is unmatched because I know the power of my commitment. I have been the type of person that committed to friendships. I've committed to business partnerships. I've committed to relationships. I have I can fully commit. I just have that capacity. I think a lot of us do. So fully commit myself to these things. And what has happened is I've lost myself more often than not to these things. And in that commitment, I will prioritize whatever I'm committed to over myself and my own requirements and awarenesses. When I committed to my life as all in on that as the biggest priority, my slipping into this other place with these people and things stopped occurring. Well, I wouldn't say it never occurs. There are moments still, but it's so rare. And then it just is so off that I can acknowledge what's going on. And I'm like, okay, whoa, hold on a minute. Let's go back to, let's recommit to my life and living. That is number one. That is the priority, my life and living. And then from there, could I commit to being with this person? And maybe it's a no. And if you're getting a no, well, then that's because it doesn't actually match the life and living that you're creating. That's a great awareness to have. It's a great awareness to have. And it doesn't make you wrong no matter what. No matter what's going on, even if you're a parent and you're like, oh shit, committing to being the mom or the dad or the whatever to these kids doesn't actually match the life and living. That's a whole another conversation. And you're going to need to ask a lot of questions about that. But if you're not even willing to be vulnerable enough to know that, then you will never move forward and you'll never actually be able to have you and support those kids or support that partner or whatever it is that is no longer matching the commitment to your life and living. It does not mean you abandon your kids or you have to get divorced or you quit your job or whatever. It's actually from awareness, anything is possible. You can change almost anything, really, truly, with being present with it, getting vulnerable, asking questions. It's quite miraculous. So when you commit to your life and living, get a sense of what that would be like for you. So just tap in. And ask it, even if you have the point of view that you've already committed, ask it and just see if there's more. If there's more of a commitment that you could be choosing with your life and living. Perhaps there's some hidden back doors that you weren't aware of. Cool. So what would your life and living be like if you committed, if you truly committed to your life and living? Is there anything that could stand in your way? Would you ever get lost in someone else's universe again? And if you did, how quickly could you get out of it? Because it would be so wonky. So everywhere you're committed to others more than your life and living, well, it's going to be a hard one for some of you. Would you be willing to destroy and create that? Right, wrong, good, bad, POC, bot, all 100 short voice public creation spaces and beyond. Don't worry, the clearing statement doesn't work unless you're willing to have it work. So I can POC and pot all day and nothing will happen. So that clearing statement was only for those of you that were like, you know what? Yes, I would like to undo that where I've committed to someone or something over my life and living. Like, what if we actually didn't know how much time we had left on this planet? What if, what if you have 1 day left? If you had 1 day left on this planet, would you spend it like taking care of commitments to other people, or would you spend it enjoying your life? Like, what would be the priority? What would you want to commit to that day? You have 1 day to live out the rest of your life. What are you committed to? Yeah, a little perspective there, huh? Maybe a little different. And now let's look at like if you could look back and you're like, cool, so I spent the last 20 years committed to this person or this job. Did that uh did that actually actualize the results I thought I was going to get from that? I hear about people like their marriages, right? Like, oh my God, we were together for 25 years and they feel like um it was all for nothing because it's ending. But they're like, I worked so hard at it. Well, what were you hoping to get out of that working so hard or that job? You committed to a company and you were like, I'm going to climb the corporate ladder and you worked so hard for that company. Did you ever get the results? If you did not get the results, then you want to look at truth. Did you have back doors to your life and living? And truth, did this, whatever this is that you committed to, actually match the life and living that you truly desire? If not, then stop judging yourself that it didn't work out. This is just awareness. And stop judging the thing that it didn't work out or the person because they didn't match. So, how was it going to? How was it going to actualize as everything you dreamed of when it never matched your life and your living? The life and living you truly like to have. And a lot of people don't even know what that is. So, it's maybe, again, another whole conversation. But you could probably get the energy of it. If there was no pressure, no expectations on you, no one needing anything of you, and you just were this infinite being, and you were like, I'm gonna pick that life. I'm gonna create this body in this country, in this era, at this time on the planet. I'm gonna create this, and I'm gonna choose this. And I'm gonna commit to this life. That energy there, what you came here for. Now, how can this can ripple out into every aspect of your life, really, truly. This can show up where you become aware of a completely different career that you haven't yet chosen. This and wondering why it was so difficult trying to get this other career going that you thought you were supposed to do. Yeah. And never really like reaped the financial gains or the freedom or the joy that you had hoped. Because it didn't actually match the life and living you came here for. You weren't actually committed to that. And it's not the same as life purpose. It's just truly the life and living you came here to have. The whole thing. So everything that you're committed to that does not match the life and living that you could be committed to. Will you just write and create that, please? Right, wrong, good, bad, POC, BOD, all 100 shorts, boys, poets, creation, spaces, and meows. And again, tap into that potency, how different your life would be if you were truly committed to your life and living. And how much more ease would start to permeate into your life. And then the other piece is, what do you require to include in your life that maybe you haven't included? So life and living is the whole thing, right? But some people have actually excluded certain energies, like money, for example. They're like, oh, the true meaning of life is love and happiness, and money doesn't matter, and I don't care about money, and I don't need money to have happiness. Do you see how like I'm pushing it away and I'm cutting it out of like my life? And then we go, why isn't money showing up? And we're frustrated because we can't pay the bills, but we keep trying to convince ourselves like, but money doesn't matter. I don't need money to have happiness. I don't need money to have happiness. Money doesn't matter. So we've like it cut it out of our life and living. However, money can beautifully support your life and living. Money is here as that support energy and that catalyst to possibility. It opens up greater, larger menus of choice, but you've cut it out of your life and living because you don't want to commit to money, because you don't want to lose yourself to money, because you don't want everything to be about money, because you don't want to be one of those people. Da-da-da. I'm not asking you to commit to money. Don't commit to money, but you can commit to being with money. And you can allow money to be included in your life and living, allow sex and romance to be included in your life and living. I know some people that have been single for so long that they've kind of just like cut it out. It's like that's just not even, I've been single for so long, it's not even something that they include in their universe anymore. What could you include in your life and living that would make it worth committing to? Oh, ask that question. What could you include? What do you require to include in your life and living that would make it worth committing to? Maybe it's so much sex you don't even have a brain anymore. So much money that you can't even spend it. So much happiness that you feel like you're living a dream. So much kindness that you start to love your life in ways that you never imagined were possible. Play with this. And this really was kind of, I didn't realize it at the time, a pretty big topic for a podcast. So maybe re-listen to this again and let it sink in, let it go, like leak into the cracks of your consciousness and start to explore what what would be truly possible for you this lifetime if you did commit to your life and living, if you close those back doors. And maybe even ask, like, consciousness, will you show me the back doors I have opened that I'm not aware of? Like, I recently realized that I have massive back doors to relationships. And I've always had them. I've had them since I was like a little kid. And especially when it's like you're only allowed to have one, right? So with friendships, like it's completely acceptable to have multiple friendships. Well, most people don't. The world is changing. I'm acknowledging that. But when I was a kid, it was not acceptable to have multiple romantic relationships. So when it was like I had to like only choose one, like that commitment was like, oh my God. It was a huge contraction in my world. And so in that contraction in my world, to avoid the contraction, I started building back doors faster than you can imagine. Multiple back doors. Back doors to my back doors to my back doors. That's how many back doors I had. And I would do that with a lot of things, like even jobs and such. Anytime where I felt like this was like some ultimate commitment. So I could have like any kind of job, but if it was a job where there was some sort of investment or an expectation that I was going to, even if it was like commit to it for a year, I was like, oh God, oh my God, what does that mean? And the contraction would start to show up for me. What I didn't realize was that because I was misidentifying, misapplying, when I was looking at committing to someone as committing to them rather than including that as a commitment to my life and living, that was a whole different arena. So okay, let's do say you're renting a home and you need to commit to a year lease. Even that is like, oh my God, if someone would have asked me that even 6 months, well, maybe a year ago, I would have been like, oh, I don't know. No, I don't think so. Backdoors, my friends. This is the back door to commitment that actually messes up your life. So say that were true and the most majestic, incredible, wonderful uh home showed up for me. Would I even be able to choose it if I have back doors to all this? No, is the answer. No. So the universe can't even really truly deliver that to me. But if I was committed to my life and this home matched my life and living, then it's not necessarily that I'm committing to that home. I'm including this home into my life and living as long as it supports my life and living. Because there's always a way forward. There's always a way that you can get out of some tenancy agreement. There's always a way that the universe will help you out. There's always a way forward. You don't need a way out. You just need to keep choosing forward. But I didn't realize that. To me, it was like, oh my God, like committing to someone means like there will never be someone else. And I have to destroy myself to make this commitment work, to make whatever this is, this relationship work. And so what I would do to cope with that is I'd be like, okay, sure, I'll totally commit to this, but I'm gonna have this back door open because I'm gonna make something happen where this will fall apart if I need it to. It's my plan B. But really realizing now that I don't require a plan B. I just require to be me in the commitment to my life and living. And all of this stuff will work its way. It will all become greater and greater because moving forward in your life and living, that's how it works. Consciousness is always expanding. So as my life expands and my living expands, everything that is in support of it will expand and everything that is not in support of it will fall away. Rather than me trying to find a way out of it, it will just actually fall away. How cool is that? And in that falling away, there's choices to be made. Yeah, definitely. If I was living with a partner and it no longer was working, I would have to choose to move or choose to get them out. Or I'd have to choose to move into that new home that I was talking about, or the new career, or start that new business. But if that wasn't scary, if that was just more of the adventure of life, then what would be possible for you? Would you be willing to commit to the adventure of your life and living? Life and living doesn't have to be serious. It doesn't have to be a lot of work. It doesn't have to be these things unless you've decided they have to be these things. Perhaps what you require to add to your life so that it's worth committing to is more adventure, more play, more joy. And then who and what can you commit to being with that will support that life and living? Completely different reality. And that's what we do here on the Curious Universe podcast. We break down the structures of reality so you can create your own reality. So thank you for joining me today and exploring this topic. I hope to see you on the next episode. Bye for now. Thank you for exploring the Curious Universe with me. Your curiosity matters. And what if together we could create a greater, more curious world?